Hi, everybody. I'm Richard Sher. It's time for another Square Off the War in Iran. Let's meet today's panel.
I'm Nicolee Ambrose.
I'm Tyrone Keys.
I'm Catalina Byrd.
I'm Barry Gogel.
And of course, I'm your moderator, Richard Sher, have been for just 41 wonderful years. The United States and Israel, as you know, are at war with Iran. We ask the four of you, do you support President Trump's decision to attack? Nicolee, we're going to let you go first.
Absolutely. I really just have to say, after 47 years, it's about time we fixed the mess that we probably created under Jimmy Carter's poor leadership. So I just hope it's quick. And I am eager to see the Iranian people rise up and take back their government.
All right, Barry Gogel.
I wish I knew. I wish I knew. I don't know if I support it because I just don't know. I haven't been prepared enough for it. I have had no explanation for it. Am I pleased with the outcome of the loss of the leader of that country? Yeah. Anytime there's a supreme leader, I find that offensive. But to answer your question, I don't know.
All right, Tyrone.
I do support it. From the regime standpoint, we've been at war for 47 years, longer than Square Off's been on the air. And in that time, since 2013, they've been working on not just nuclear technology, but ICBM technology. An intercontinental ballistic missile involves us here in America. It's a delivery vehicle that can strike half a world away. So I do agree that they had to be thwarted in that effort. And I also agree with Barry that it's reprehensible, some of the things that their supreme leader was doing, and I'm glad to see him go.
Ironic that it took 47 years and President Trump is our 47th president. Catalina Byrd, welcome back.
Hi, thank you for having me. I think that I'm going to disagree with everyone else. I don't think that we should have done it the way that we've done it, especially coming 48 hours after claiming a board of peace and no new wars. I think that this is not what his constituency voted for. But we'll see. They don't have a plan. I would probably feel better if the people at the helm had a little bit more integrity and some idea of leadership and the qualities that they take, but these people don't. And so we'll be paying for it. And if not us, our kids and our grandkids.
All right, well, the question is why now? Why is this happening now? What is the U.S. and Israel objective? And what do they hope to achieve? Somebody speak up.
Well, if you take a look at the rhetoric, it became more and more bellicose of late. And again, the prospect of them being able not only to get enriched material to create a nuclear weapon, plus again, working on the ICBM technology, and understand that the talks were not designed to get them to cease their program. The talks were designed around getting them to slow and alter the program. So I think they've proven over the years that they have an objective, and they were working toward that objective for the better part of a half century and I'm sitting here in America. So when you say death to America, and you're also working on nuclear weapons, I take that seriously.
I don't know what you mean by more bellicose of late. I mean, they've been bellicose from day one. Death to America started, as Nicolee pointed out, in the Jimmy Carter era. I don't know that Jimmy Carter mismanaged anything, more so than any of the subsequent presidents in between Jimmy Carter and now. So all I know is I don't know why it's now. I know that 6 servicemen are dead in Kuwait. That may not have to be dead right now because I don't know why the timing is now. And I don't know what other measures could have been taken. I know that for the longest time, respected people were saying this type of action was misguided because it could lead to a very serious, and it already is a very serious, escalation that could take the world into a situation. I don't think saying it could be World War III is too much of a hyperbole.
Go ahead,
So
Nicolee.
So I have a long list of why now. And really, it's too bad it wasn't handled sooner. But we have Steve Witkoff, special envoy. I heard a great interview with him where he explained the three meetings with, the Iranian team. Long story short, within a week, Iran would have had enough material to fill a nuclear weapon. They believed they were on track for and wanted to have 11 nuclear missiles. So once again, as Tyrone pointed out, when they chant death to America and they have 11 nuclear missiles, that's a problem. President Trump's position was that was untenable and unacceptable. They had flouted all IAEA protocols. They had lied to people for every agreement they had ever entered into. And now they were a week from having the beginning of 11 nuclear warheads. So I think we should all take that as a serious threat. And then think you have to think back about the world before 1979, right? And that world had a much more stable Middle East. And when Kat talks about all the people who've lost their lives, had the Iranian regime not been funding so many of these conflicts, so many of these wars, so many of these people sent to attack us over the years, and our troops anywhere else in the world, we would have a lot more alive people now. So I think the calculation would simply be we cannot have a nuclear missile sailing over to America, and we were very close to that moment.
Back in June of 2025, Donald Trump, you'll remember, after ordering surprise attacks on Iran's nuclear sites, proclaimed that the U.S. had, quote, completely and totally obliterated Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities. What specific threats from Iran do you feel justify this current military action?
Well, again, Richard, they were dogged about and very public about obtaining a nuclear weapon. I would push back a bit on Barry. I don't think that de-escalating in terms of wanting to see fewer nuclear weapons in the world is a prelude to World War III, especially when you have in the theater right now, based on what Iran itself has done. They have struck out, hit Kuwait. They've hit neighboring countries who have not been involved. So the League of Arab Nations has actually coalesced around the effort to end Iran's nuclear threat, because now the world sees what they would do with conventional weapons, let alone a nuclear weapon. So I think we're further away from World War III, Barry, than we were prior to this action.
Well, I don't know. I think we're lining up very unnicely on sides, and as you say, the Arab world is coalescing. Yeah, the Arab world has always been, not always, but in recent years has been very skeptical, concerned about Iran, and if the Arab world hasn't taken on this burden, it's been the Israel and the United States. The world before 1979, the Middle East before 1979, Nicolee, you're forgetting wars in 67 and 72. It has always been a very, very dangerous place where religion becomes theocracy, and that's a difficult combination. Pardon me if I don't share your optimism, but it's concerning.
All right, Nicolee, you want to respond? Reply.
Right. Of course, any war or military action is concerning, but it's always what is the question we have to ask, which of course we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know the answer. We just know we're in a better situation if we are not the destination for 11 nuclear warheads. So that's a very simple calculation. And I have to add that, of course, we are aware of additional wars that happened before then. But I've reached out to my friends in the Middle East and I said, I cannot believe Iran is being so stupid as to directly engage its neighbors opposing them in this war. And across the Middle East, the response I keep getting is, we were surprised too, because you could have had some of these nations who are sick. We're sick of the Ayatollah's actions. I'm sick of the IRGC's actions, but they might have sat on their hands. But the second Iran starts firing missiles at them, of course they're going to be more securely on our side, and that's a good thing because we need a new regime, and it needs to be led by the people of
All right,
Iran.
Catalina, it is your turn.
I've never been one to agree that we are supposed to be the police of the world. I don't believe that we get to say who gets to have what. I don't know why we think that we are the only people who understand anything about what's right and what's wrong. And so, again, this is going to be something that we'll be paying for generations to come.
We're going to take a break in just a moment. I do want to remind you that Iranian's foreign minister has accused the U.S. Navy of committing an, quote, atrocity at sea for sinking the Iranian frigate Iris Dina in the Indian Ocean, killing at least 87. An Iranian cleric on state TV called for the shedding of both Israeli and Trump's blood. We'll be back after this word from Howard Mallison, the voice of Square Off.
Thank you, Richard. You know, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, your choice for a great meal starts at the Double T Diner. And all the menu choices are served the entire day. Double T Diner has locations all over town. Route 40 West, Perry Hall, White Marsh, Bel Air, Laurel, Annapolis, Pasadena, and the EC Diner in Ellicott City. You've never seen a menu with so many selections. It's why the Double T Diner wins so many reader polls. Plus, Monday nights are lobster night at By the Docks, part of the Double T family. Let them know you heard about them on Square Off.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, if you or a family member has experienced personal injury, medical malpractice, or nursing home neglect, it's time to call the law firm of Barry Glazer. He has the legal team and resources to go after the big insurance companies to get you every penny he can. And with an in-house medical doctor and nurse, his attorneys work on the toughest and most complex medical malpractice cases. Barry Glazer is your advocate for the injured, disabled, and medically abused. So give Barry a call at 410-547-8568. Let him know you heard about him on Square Off. And you know, with so many cars on the road these days and distracted drivers everywhere, ice patches that pop up just out of nowhere, auto accidents are going to happen. And if you've experienced an accident, the insurance companies cannot tell you where to take your car. That's why more and more drivers are trusting their auto repairs and maintenance to the #1 leading edge auto body and mechanical repair. They work on all makes and models, offer free pickup and delivery anywhere in the Baltimore area. So give them a call at 410-443-6433 or visit them at 5807 Falls Road in Mount Washington. They make your car look and run like new again. Back to you, Rich.
And I might add that Annabelle's car at this very moment is on its way to leading edge with a warning light flashing on her dashboard. Sorry to report that. Sorry. By the way, Tyrone, a quick congratulations on your selection by Mr. Ed Hale to be the Republican candidate for Lieutenant Governor.
Thank you, Richard.
You're welcome. You're welcome. That's great. It's amazing what our panelists become. All right. President Trump has fired Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. This after intense congressional questioning, which included her $220 million advertising campaign featuring Kristi Noem. Trump then nominated Oklahoma Republican Senator Mark Wayne Mullen to replace Noem. What's up there, Nicolee?
Well, I don't know if I'd use the word fire if she's moved into another position within the Trump administration. So we'll see. I think I do appreciate actually that she had a good public media campaign explaining to people that they can leave the country peacefully, receive money. I think she did a good job of clearly and concisely explaining that. So I appreciate it that she got some messaging out about that and gave people alternate methods to leave if they wanted to.
You don't think she's been promoted, do you?
I mean, we have a whole new emphasis on the Western Hemisphere, which is going to determine how the United States engages in this century. I think that's a very important role for the future of this country and the future of this hemisphere. So I'm actually interested to see how this all goes.
All right, speak up, next person.
Well, this is not, folk come and go in administrations. They serve at the pleasure of whomever the president is. And it is also true, to be, absolutely honest, that she did have a major misstep that I called out to a friend a few weeks ago, and that is the relationship with Corey Lewandowski. And she could not answer definitively whether or not she had an affair with Mr. Lewandowski in the congressional hearings that were held with her husband sitting there. That's a bad look. And that
I would say
combined with
that it is a bad look, Ty.
that combined with some questions about the ad campaign. Listen, nobody's tenure is going to be perfect. I think that she has done her job adequately in the beginning stage. I actually think Markwayne Mullin would be an appropriate next step for the direction of that deportation policy.
Here is a just released Reuters Ipsos poll showing that only 27% of Americans approve of the U.S.-Israeli bombing of Iran. And a CBS survey finds that more than 60% of nearly 1,400 American adults do not think the Trump administration has provided what we've been looking for, a clear explanation of the U.S. goals in Iran.
And that's
I agree
because they
with that.
don't know it. They don't know it. They don't have a clear goal. And they're not even on message. At least at one point in time, they used to all, even if it was pure BS, all be on message and have the same rhetoric. They can't decide if it's a war or if it's not. You've got Mike Johnson saying one thing, Marco Rubio saying another, Pete Hegseth, who I believe was drunk in this week's press conference, screaming about we're not going to follow the stupid rules of engagement. It's like the entire country, and now as a result, affecting the world, we're being run by a frat house. And nobody wants to call a thing a thing.
Barry, what do you think of
Yeah.
the messaging?
Oh, I think there's been a complete lack of discipline. It's been complete scattered all over the place. Is it a war? Is it not a war? Nicolee is talking about 11 nuclear warheads. I'm sorry, this is the first I'm hearing about that. And pardon me if looking at history and learning from history and the history of Iraq, at least they told us about the so-called weapons of mass destruction before they went in, so that we knew. And as I said at the outset, I don't know because I haven't been told about what was the urgency here. What is our expected outcome? What is our exit strategy? What is our long range plan here? Just to say, oh, I hope the Iranian people rise up. Well, it looks like the Supreme Leader's son is going to be the next Supreme Leader. Is that really going to improve the situation in the Middle East?
Well,
Let's
Barry,
ask
I
this
think if you
question.
look,
All
I
right,
think
let's
if you
hear
look
from
at,
Nicolee first.
okay.
Nicolee, then Ty.
So let's ask this question. If we had the intelligence to know how to kill 40 people in a single blow, don't you think we might have the intelligence to know about what we're facing from a nuclear threat and why it was an imminent threat?
Yeah,
I
but
think you have
you
to
haven't
give that
told
fair
us
credit.
that.
And furthermore, I have to say, once again,
Learn from
Steve
history.
Witkoff gave an interview on this. You can get all the information you want. He said the Iranians told him, this is not speculation. The Iranians told him what they had, what their timeline was. Ooh, they were very blunt about this. So we're not making this up. This is from the people who were in the room trying to negotiate a peace settlement.
All right, Tyrone, then we'll hear Barry's response.
That's absolutely correct in terms of Witkoff's statement has been out there. Barry, I'm sorry you haven't seen it, but he did also say that they've got 60% capability that could be bumped up to 90 within 10 days. That's public record. In terms of history, I will agree with you, Barry. And I think I'll go out on a limb and speak for everyone on the panel. And I think that we've got war fatigue. We do not want another protracted engagement. in the Middle East. We were in Afghanistan for literally a generation, and in many ways left the Taliban in a better position than we found them in. So we definitely do not want a repeat of that. I totally agree with you there. But Barry, let's be honest. Now, come on. It has not, it has been, Iran has not done this surreptitiously. They have been very vocal. The global community has recognized that they were trying to
It's
create
the
a nuclear weapon.
same old Saul Tyrone. You know, Saddam Hussein was very vocal. He told us he had these things. Colin Powell went to the United Nations and showed pictures, and it wasn't correct. It wasn't true. Listen, I am not, as I said, I don't know whether this was the right thing or not. I'm not saying this was the wrong thing. I'm saying I don't know. I don't know, and I don't necessarily believe what has been said from an administration that tells tens of thousands of lies. So I don't necessarily trust. But let me just finish.
Sure.
Reagan said, "Trust but verify."
Mm-hmm.
You're just asking me to trust and not even verify. So I would, I'm just skeptical. I'm skeptical of these people's abilities to prosecute this in an organized way. I'm concerned about the statements. I happen to be reading the Splendid and Vile right now about the Britain before the Battle of Britain. And the quotes of the generals from the Germans, Goebbels and Goering, are scarily similar to what I hear coming out of this administration.
Okay, let me stop you.
I know you shake your
there.
head.
Let me stop. Let me save you.
Hold it, guys.
But it's scary.
Let me
please.
actually save you. I see the road that you're going down, and I think when you reflect on it, you would not want to do that. And we can have a larger conversation about that if you prefer at your leisure. But I think you're right to be cautious because I mean, you can go way back in not only American history, but in the history of world governments to substantiate your skepticism. And I agree with you. But you said something very, I believe, honest.
You got to wrap it soon, Tyrone.
You said something very honest. You said you don't know. And I appreciate that. So in the absence of information, you said you don't know. Are you willing to take a chance?
No, not with World War III. That's not with World War III, and not with these people in charge.
All right,
not with a man who has anyway, go ahead.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to talk to you about some nighttime sharpshooters in some city parks. We'll do that in just a moment. Here's Howard.
Thank you, Richard. You know, if you're experiencing any kind of foot pain that requires medical attention, I recommend Dr. Kelly Gogel. She's a well-respected, board-certified podiatrist and heel specialist. No one is immune from foot problems, and if your concern is the appearance of your feet, Dr. Gogel has a long record of success using laser treatments to correct your issues. Plus, they're safe, painless, go right to the root of the problem. So don't suffer from the agony of defeat. Start winning with a call to Dr. Gogel at 410-753-4422 to set up an appointment. Once again, that's 410-753-4422. Pappas restaurants and sports bars are synonymous with the best crab cake you'll ever taste. But there's lots more to the Pappas menu, a whole host of specialty dishes you won't find anywhere else. So for fine dining, special occasions, or just watching sports, Pappas should be your number one choice. That's why Oprah put the Pappas crab cake on her favorite things list. And Pappas ships their crab cakes all over the country with 4 locations in Parkville, Cockeysville, Glen Burnie, and Bel Air. I guarantee you'll become a Pappas regular. Back to you, Richard.
Thank you so much, Howard. We're going to get local now for a little bit for the show. Oh, dear me. Here's an important reminder. The multiple parks in Baltimore will soon be closed at night so that federal sharpshooters can move into thin herds of deer that officials say are overwhelming forests and choking off any new tree growth. Sharpshooters using thermal imaging and bait sites, stand by, will shoot the deer from 20 to 50 yards, aiming for quick, humane kills. Now, I'm wondering about these guns that are going off in the middle of the night, the noise. Catalina, you told me on the phone in preparation that you
You're
have.
frozen. What are you asking me?
Oh, I froze.
You did.
Well, I'm
You're a
sorry.
deer in the headlights.
Right. Um, I'm concerned. I know that closing the park sound like something easy to do, but that there's not actual gates and things, and that people don't tend to listen. And I have a big fear that, be it accidental or on purpose, someone's going to get shot, and not just the deer. I do understand that we've done so much development in the surrounding counties that we've driven the deer out of their own habitat, and so they seem like a nuisance, but I mean, we took their home, so they're only going wherever it is that they can go. But there is a program out in Idaho where they have a number of coyotes. They have an overpopulation of coyotes, and they're paying people, trained hunters, to come and kill the coyotes. I'd love to see it be a revenue creating opportunity for people in the city who have the appropriate licenses to carry guns and have been trained, as opposed to it being something else that is ran through bureaucracy and don't give us an opportunity to make have any economic income, economic impact rather. But we did this, we overdeveloped the counties. There's no place for them to go. And ultimately it's bad for them and it's bad for us, health wise, and the infections that it can cause if we allow it to continue. But I'm very, very skeptical that somebody's going to get shot.
That's certainly not worth laughing at.
I would
Nicolee.
actually, oh, go ahead,
Go,
Nicolee.
go ahead, Tyrone.
I would actually agree with, I think Catalina made a good point about there should be some mechanism to the extent that people have hunting licenses and proper weaponry, if they're going to do this, then to incorporate them. But the city is densely populated, and I'm just thinking about several parks. Druid Hill Park is in the middle of several residential areas, Herring Run. And
And
I
Lincoln,
would be interested, Lincoln. I would be interested in knowing what kind of weapons are going to be used, because a lot of these weapons, the range on them is pretty substantial. The last thing I'll say is I wonder if the city has a mechanism to take some of these deer that are being dispatched and test them and you can eat deer. So that's a source of food. There are many hungry people in the city.
Well, let me just say this operation will have police officers surrounding, or at least the entrances. They'll be there on duty. The city's paying $110,442 to the Department of Agriculture, Wildlife Services to remove 271 white-tailed deer through April. And the parks, as Ty mentioned, will be Druid Hill Park, Gwynns Falls Leakin Park, and Herring Run Park, the city's largest forested areas, before any of the shooting begins, including helicopter flyovers. But I can appreciate Catalina's comments that one of these bullets, how do you know? What do you know? Nicolee, you're a city girl.
I am. And if you happen to hear my dogs barking, it's because they're constantly chasing deer because we have too many. Not only are we going to save a lot of people's lives from not hitting them in car accidents, but the deer are a tremendous public health problem with Lyme disease and every other sort of tick-borne illness that are not being treated in this area because a lot of doctors don't understand everything that needs to be tested for. But furthermore, we would not have this deer problem if the natural order of society existed and these deer had allowed to be hunted like they would have been at any other point in human history. So, to Catalina's point and her question, the background article on this talked about how a food bank is expecting 40,000 pounds of venison
That's right.
from this, which is great to give that back to the community. These deer should have been feeding the community long before this. And I am just excited to try to solve some of this problem because it's a horrific problem. We have way too many accidents and infectious diseases because the deer population have not been contained. This is the first good management decision I've seen out of Baltimore City in a very long time.
Oh, good.
I
Barry.
don't know. Yeah, I, I don't know how killing deer in Baltimore County and Howard County and those areas is causing deer in Baltimore City. I used to live out in Baltimore County, out in the northern county. I'm happily now in the city, and there's deer season, and they thin the herd out there with hunting appropriately and as necessary. And it is necessary. I don't want to say it's a necessary evil. It's a necessary sadness. But the natural order of things has not been disturbed, I assure you. The people are hunting, and the sadness is that the deer have been driven into the city, where in years past they weren't.
There you
And
go.
it's not just deer. Like, it's not uncommon.
Fox.
You can see fox in Bolton Hill. It's not just deer.
I got a fox in my backyard.
Right. And so it's as a result
married
of
a
the
fox.
overdevelopment of the
Thank you.
county.
Let me say this, we are just about out of time. If you go to our website, squareoff.net, you'll see a space there where it says we want to hear from you. Just click that and send us your emails, your comments about our topics, our wonderful panelists, things you'd like to see on Square Off. Please do that for us, please. And thank you, Barry, and thank you, Catalina. Thank you, sir. That's to Tyrone.
Thank you.
And Nicolee, always a pleasure to see you. Our GOP committee woman, good for you. We will see, I'm Richard Sher. We will see you next time. And once again, we square off. Don't forget, this is the weekend to set your clocks forward. You'll lose an hour's sleep, but isn't that fabulous? See you later, everybody. See you next time. Bye-bye.